Welcome back, everybody. We are going to be continuing on our series to help you understand how to use SAM. Now, so far as our wins go, we now have our SAM account set up and we have Google Access connected. We have all of our data inside and cleaned up for our contacts, listings, properties, and transactions. And now we're going to start looking at how you can actually use SAM to manage and run your business, not just hold on to and store all the data that's going to be able to be learned from using the AI inside of SAM, but actually start executing on our day-to-day operations. So that is going to be what we are covering inside of here. Now, this is the third video. And if you have not yet done the other two steps, you got to go back, right? So go ahead and pause right here and hop back. I would encourage you to go back to this video right here. That is our first video on setup. Or if you need to, you can go to this video right here. And that is our second video all about building out our databases for our all-in-one CRM. Now that you have full context of all of those different pieces, we are going to go ahead and we're going to start looking at the features inside of SAM that are going to help us run our business. So let's go ahead and let's dive in. All right. So now that we go ahead and log into SAM, we are going to be met, as always, with the dashboards. We're going to talk about the dashboards a little bit later. There's some cool stuff there, but today what we're actually going to be looking at is all of the features inside of SAM that are going to help us run our business. So that is going to be our calendar, our outbox, our call lists, and then our templates. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work to have strong understanding of usability inside of SAM. So very first, let's go ahead and let's look at our calendar section inside of SAM. So we click into this and we are going to have the ability to look at what is today. We can look at day, week, month. We can look at our schedule, or we can have a timeline for our events. So this is a really easy way for us to toggle between that. I can also select different team members if I have multiple members on my team. But if you're in a trial, that's okay. You just have access to your calendar for now, and that's totally fine. You can look at all of the different team members and start to get a good idea. Now, because we had our Google Sync set up, here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to click and I'm going to send a test message. And I'm going to hit save. So now I have a test message from 7 to 8. And I'm going to go ahead and migrate over to my Google Calendar. And then you guys are going to actually get a little bit of behind the scenes. And you can notice that there it is. There's that test message that I built into SAM. And it was just pulled right over. So let's go ahead and let's do this. So now that we're in Google, I can slide this all the way up. And maybe that meeting was actually earlier today. And so I can go ahead and hop back in. And you're going to see that it is updated. So that's really cool. This is, like I said, part of that two-way Google Sync. So this is why it's so important that we actually go into our setup and make sure that we have that link. But that's going to be a really cool way for you to manage all of your different calendar pieces. So outside of the calendar, we need to go ahead and we need to look at our outbox. Now, our outbox is going to be where all of our different messages get sent to. And we can look at this a couple of different ways. Now, my outbox is a little bit lean right now because this is my test account and we don't see anything. But at the very top, we have a couple past due messages. And they're at the top because those are the most important ones. So we can go ahead and review them. If I need to, I can click in and I can edit that specific message. I can adjust the specific time that it's going to go. And then I can either send it now, I can send it later, or I can save it as a draft. And that's going to be how we manage all of those different messages. Now, if I have any that are sending out today, the today area will actually pop up right under past due because that's the second next largest priority in my list. And then after that, we have our upcoming and our sent past and then our drafts. Now, the thing about the upcoming as well as the sent past, if we click these little three dots right here, we can adjust the number of days into the future we want to look for our upcoming as well as the number of days into our past that we want to look for sent past. But this is going to be the area in which we are able to observe and look at all of these messages. Now, ultimately, most of the automations you build using routines, which we're going to dive into a little bit later, those are going to be templated messages that get sent out automatically. We've pre-written them, we've pre-approved everything, and that's great. But anytime we have Sam write a message and or take a templated message and adapt it so that it's more personalized, that's going to be when we have to look at all of those different things. But it's much easier to do a quick review and preview and then send it on its way than it is to have to spend hours thinking about what I need to write and then figuring out when I need to send it. So that is the power in doing that inside of our outbox. Now, the other thing that we could do inside our outbox on the top right-hand side is click this new message. We could send an email or an SMS. And after that, we have our call list. It's worth noting that your call list could look very different than my call list does right now. And that's because this is our next area that we are going to invest a lot of time building out. We have what we consider our minimal viable product, our MVP, which is like a tech term for, hey, it's working, it works well, but it's not exactly what we dreamed of. So this one is going to have a lot of infrastructural change over the next couple of months that you're going to have access to. But very much like the outbox, you have a list of all of your past due calls, any upcoming or any completed calls, and you can actually click into these and you can look at all of those different details. Under there, you have the from, and you're going to have the ability to select the specific Twilio number that you have associated with that. Now, Twilio is a bit of an advanced setup that we're going to cover a little bit later, but if you are needing access to Twilio right now, go ahead and reach out to help@workflowsecrets.info. We can help you get that set up, not a problem, but you will need access to your own Twilio account and your own Twilio number to be able to use that. So that is kind of the caveat in this, but it's going to bring a lot of power. Now, the last thing that's worth noting, if you are an Apple user and you have a Mac or an iPhone, you can actually use your mobile phone device and you can call out inside of SAM through those different devices, which is really cool to me. So that is the ways in which you can use the call list. The next way that we're going to look at is the templates. So templates inside of SAM are a little bit different than how you might have thought about templates in your traditional legacy CRMs, because in those, you are building out specific templates that are specifically for emails or specific templates that are specific for SMS messages. But if you remember back to our contact database, when I built out that message, that I actually set the preferences to, I want it to be SMS versus email or call, or I want it to be email versus SMS. And so because we have preferences, we can actually use those preferences inside our templates to build out that world-class client experience. And this is going to be one of those areas that I think you're going to really enjoy inside SAM. So on the top right-hand side, I'm going to click New Template, and I can select which area of the databases it's going to be working through. It's going to go for the contacts, for the properties, listings, transactions, or the projects, which we'll dive into later. And from here, it's just your standard message you can write and send, but I'm actually going to let Sam build this again. So in this message, it's going to ask me, what's the overall goal of this message? And maybe this is send a new lead, a welcome message with a call to action for a call to connect. Pretty simple, but in plain English, that is what we're hoping to do. We're sending a new lead a message, welcoming them. We want them to do that. Now from here, Sam is going to generate this message for us. I call these messages because maybe you figured out it's going to do some really cool things. So let's look at this message and then we'll figure out what it actually has. So contact greeting, contact first name, those are merge fields. Those are pretty standard. Now it's worth noting, this is my own little soapbox, legacy CRMs use merge fields and then they high five themselves and say, I made it personal. That is not personal. Personal is what we did with our contact a little bit ago, using those personal details to personalize that message specifically to them. And it was still in my writing style, if you notice that. That is a personal message. Using a merge field is low hanging fruit. It's not even entering the conversation because adding someone's name to an email does not make it personal to them. I guarantee they can tell. So just because we are using merge fields doesn't mean that that's where we get to stop. We're actually using the entirety of the message to personalize this. Welcome at Workflow Secrets. We understand our mission, and then schedule a call. This looks pretty great. So this is what the email template would be. But like I said, maybe they have a preference for SMS. Well, I can actually let Sam do that on the fly, or I can click this SMS tab and Sam is going to say, hey, I don't have an SMS. Do you want me to just create that really quickly? I'm going to click yes. Sam is going to translate that to an SMS message and boom, just like that. Now, Sam does something that helps make this a native experience. And what I mean by that is it's taking that entire email and it's shrinking it down to an SMS format. It's 160 characters. And the reason for this, I don't know about you, but I have received emails in the past that were actually on an SMS. It doesn't feel right. It feels weird. It's wrong. And so that is not a great experience. So Sam is able to translate these messages to help accomplish that. And then we can actually move forward with it. And Sam's sending either that templated email or that templated SMS message. So that is how we're able to actually use Sam. These are pretty quick hits because they're pretty easy to understand, but that is going to allow you to start running your business inside of Sam. Now, what we're going to be doing in our next video is we're going to be looking at these modern workflow automations. We call them routines because everyone has lots of routines inside their life, whether it's waking up in the morning, brushing your teeth, going for some coffee, and then moving to the office, or maybe it's your nighttime routine. Everyone's got routines, and that's going to be what we're looking into. But so far, you have set up Sam, you've added contacts, properties, listings, and transactions into your databases, filling up your CRM. And now you have understanding of the tools that you have access to actually use Sam. We're going to tie a bow on this by adding the automations piece. And then once you have all of those set up, you are going to be ready to successfully use Sam. I'm really excited for that moment to happen because all of these little light bulb moments are going to come together. Now, after that, we're going to look at some of those bonus features that I was talking about that I've saved until the very end to make sure that it's a really great experience for you. But I will see you on the next video.